Okay, let's be real. There are few things more frustrating than a kitchen sink full of that gross, murky, standing water. It just brings your whole kitchen to a grinding halt. But don't you worry, in the next few minutes, we're going to break down exactly how to fix that clog and, just as important, how to stop it from ever coming back.
Oh, you know the one I'm talking about, right? You finish washing a couple of dishes and the water just sits there. It's that universal moment of household dread. But here's the good news. You can probably handle this yourself. The source material calls this a household domino problem, which is just a perfect way to describe it. It all starts with the water draining a little slow. Then that backs up your dishwashing. Then these not-so-pleasant odors start to creep in, and all of a sudden your entire kitchen routine is completely thrown off.
So what's actually causing this mess? Well, it's almost never one single thing. It's the slow, steady buildup of everyday stuff. You know, cooking grease, those little food scraps, soap residue, and yeah, even hair. Over time, all that stuff gets together down there and creates a really stubborn blockage.
All right, before you reach for any tools, let's play detective for a minute. This first phase is all about a simple diagnosis, and it can tell you a whole lot about the problem you're actually facing.
The process here is super simple. First, just stop. Don't run the disposal, don't pour anything else down there. You could just make it worse. Second, check the strainer for any obvious gunk and just clear it out with your hands. And third, assess the situation. Is it just one side of your double sink? The clog is probably right there in the P-trap. Are other drains in the house acting slow? That could mean the problem is much deeper in your main plumbing line.
Okay, so with our little diagnosis done, it is time to get hands-on. We're going to look at two key mechanical tools, and we're going to start with the simplest one first. Yep, your first line of attack is the humble sink plunger. It is surprisingly effective for most partial blockages. It just uses simple water pressure to dislodge whatever is stuck down there.
Now listen, technique is absolutely everything here. This isn't about wild, frantic plunging. The most important thing is creating a really tight seal over that drain. Then you want to apply firm, steady pressure in cycles. After a few good pumps, just stop and see if the water starts to drain.
If that plunger didn't quite do the trick, it's time to escalate. A drain snake, sometimes called an auger, is designed to reach those blockages that are way further down the pipe.
The key word here is gentle. You're going to feed the snake into the drain and rotate the handle as you go. Now, if you feel major resistance, stop. That might just be a turn in the pipe, not the actual clog. Your goal is to gently hook on to whatever is down there and pull it back out, not to just force it through.
Okay, let's pause for a second. I know how tempting it is to just go grab a bottle of chemical drain cleaner, pour it down the sink, and hope for the best. But before you do that, we really need to talk about the risks.
This is a direct quote from our source, and it is so important. Chemical cleaners can be really harsh, and they carry some serious risks, especially if you mix different products, which, by the way, you should never, ever, ever do.
The difference here is pretty clear, right? Mechanical tools physically remove the clog. That's safer for your pipes, and it's usually way more effective in the long run. Chemicals, on the other hand, they try to dissolve the material. But in the process, they can actually damage older pipes, and like we said, they just come with a lot more safety risks.
So, you did it. The drain is clear. Fantastic. But, the real victory here is making sure you don't have to do this all over again next month. And that all comes down to prevention.
These simple little daily habits are your absolute best defense. Scrape food into the trash, not the sink. Wipe those greasy pans with a paper towel before you wash them. Always use your sink strainer. And just be mindful of starchy stuff like pasta water or fibrous vegetable peels.
Now, it is also crucial to know your limits. DIY is great, but some jobs absolutely require an expert. So let's talk about the signs that mean it's time to put down the tools and pick up the phone.
If you've tried plunging and snaking and that sink is still backed up, it's time. If bad odors are getting worse fast, if multiple drains in your house are slow, or if you're dealing with the same clog every few weeks, call a professional. These are all signs of a much deeper issue.
So remember, taking care of a simple clog right away isn't just about getting your sink back. It is about protecting your entire plumbing system from much bigger and, trust me, much more expensive problems down the road.
And that's our explainer for today. A clogged drain is a nuisance for sure, but it's also kind of a signal from your home. So the next time you see that water draining just a little too slow, ask yourself, is my drain trying to tell me something about my habits? A little prevention now can save you a whole lot of headache later.